Hello and welcome to TractionStories. I'm your host, Gaspar. I'm a B2B product marketing consultant. I work with SaaS companies on how to position the products in order to get more people that ask for the SaaS. And in TractionStories, my podcast, I interview B2B SaaS founders on how they got some traction that accelerated their growth. And in today's episode, I'm interviewing Nicolas Lespinasse, who is also a French founder, who built Abby, which is a SaaS that helps independent workers on all the administrative tasks. And we're going to talk about how he decided, with his co-founders, decided to focus on this underserved audience, which is independent workers, how they grew the SaaS, found some traction through marketing to have the lowest possible cost of acquisition, until they grew and until the latest fundraising, which is quite recent, of 3 million euros. Enjoy this episode. Remember to subscribe if you enjoy it and leave a like and share it if you can. Thank you. Have a good episode. And we are live. Hello, Nicolas.
Hi, Gaspar.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks. What about you?
I'm doing great. I'm super happy to have you. You're the second French person I have on this podcast. So I'm glad to show more of us in the wild, in the worldwide podcast. A super big audience that I have. So we're going to talk about Abby today. So want to start with that? What is Abby?
Large question, right? Abby is what we created the last 4 years. First of all, I would say our mission is to create the best experience ever for those who do it all. When you're an independent worker, you have to, do absolutely everything by yourself. You have to learn everything. You have to take care of absolutely everything. And you have to know absolutely everything about your business. And so basically, this is absolutely impossible. So we are here to help them, to help those independent workers understand what they have to do with the laws, with the taxes, with invoicing, with accounting, put everything they have to do, except about their activity itself, in the same platform. And we created the all-in-one platform for independent worker. So we are based on 4 pillars. The first one is invoicing, but not only invoicing. On Abby, you can, of course, create documents, invoices, estimates, etc. But you also can make your customer pays online. You can make them sign your estimates or contracts online. You have a smart reminder that send automatically emails to your customer when they don't pay, because you want, of course, them to pay. And of course, as soon as they pay, you have to make your accounting. So automatically we are building their accounting books. You can synchronize your bank account so you can manage all your expenses. And by the end of the month, semester, quarter, whatever, you have all your taxes declaration that are ready. You can declare all your income right in Abby. We have an official partnership with the government institution that is managing that. You can declare your VAT and also manage your own personal taxes. So those are the 3 first pillars: invoicing, accounting, taxes. And the last one is about productivity, because you have to manage what you're doing in your activity. You're doing plenty of things, actions, work. You probably have plenty of customers, tasks, etc. So we provide a whole model with, what you need to follow up your projects, your orders. You can manage your tasks, follow your time, tracking your time. And in one click, I don't know, I'm like a personal teacher. I can follow up all my customers or all my projects. In one click, I can create, a time tracker. I just spent, for example, 1 hour with a customer. In a click, I create an invoice. Another click, the invoice is in his email box. He pays me online, and automatically everything is done: accounting, taxes, etc.
I knew that was a large question. Thank you for answering, because you took the big bet of building an all-in-one platform. So it's something where in product marketing we all have our own opinion on this kind of category, because a lot of, we put everything in all in one. It's not really it's a tough value proposition to handle and to be accountable for.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So you're the founder. You built this from the start. Can I know a bit more about your background, maybe, so for our listeners?
Yeah, sure. Just one word about the all-in-one platform. Yeah, you're right. This is quite dangerous, to try to make everything. But actually, we are not doing everything because we're quite focused on, administrative and financial tasks. But also, we are focused on kind of just one type of customers. We have competitors in accounting. They are targeting all the type of companies in France. Here, we are working with just one type, the type of, when you're a solopreneur, when you're the only one in the company. So the job is quite segmented. We're focused on one type of customer. And I would say this is why it's possible. And for the second part, my background, I come from the countryside, the real one. I mean, the real countryside. I was the first one. I think I was about 12 years old, maybe even 10. And I was the first one in the city having internet right inside the house. At this time, you couldn't call somebody with your phone while you were surfing on the web. So I come from the countryside, and this is how I met two of my three partner in business. We come kind of from the same region. We knew each other from high school. We were not really very, very good friends. Just we knew each other. And when you know somebody, even if it's not your friend, once you go to the university, actually engineering school, yeah, once you know somebody, try to try to make a new friend, because you don't know anybody else. So we started working together, hanging out, whatever. And very, very soon we started to realize that we have the same perception of work. Most people are thinking that work is more about earning money because you need money to live, and not because working is a way to build something great in your life. Working is actually the only way to do something great in your life, even with your life. And so, light issue, sorry. Um, and so we started to realize pretty soon that we have the same mindset about this. And we met the fourth one, co-founder, which is Jeremy, our CTO. He was literally the genius of the school. Everybody knew him for this, and we were hard workers. He was too. So pretty soon we started to work together, and it's been 10 years now.
Whoa.
So yeah. Started 10 years ago, didn't stop anything, working together, same mindset, same willing of doing something. Um, and yeah, the logical end of this was to build something together. So by the end of our studies, we already created our own company. Actually, in the first year of studies, we created our own business, personal business. We were working together very often. And by this time, I was already, the big mouth, the guy who was talking with everybody, trying to find new customers, new big projects, etc. So we had a few customers while our studies. And yeah, as soon as we finished, we already had, quite a stabilized business. We had few customers. We started. So we were in 2020. We started a company which was, an engineering company, classic engineering company, working on mobile and web app for customers. Yeah, we worked for quite a few customers, especially big companies in France, like a big chain of supermarkets, one of the leader of building public buildings and everything in France. And about a year after, we started to realize something. We loved working on tech products, but we were always disappointed about what those companies were doing with the products we delivered. We were thinking that they could do so much more with what we've worked on. And so starting to think, to wonder how we could do better, and especially we always wanted to work on an only product, having our own product. This company was kind of the first step, you have to build before knowing what you really want to do for a lifetime, or I mean, for the next 10 years. This was a good, way to work on many, many projects, many, many themes. And so, about a year after, I've almost getting by a customer, we started thinking, yeah, it's probably the good time for us to start working on our own project. I mean, the only project. And this is how Abby is born. We were ourselves independent workers for many years. I mean, yeah, 4% for 5 years, accumulating almost 20 years of independent worker working. We used to have a customer in the accounting world, especially online accounting. So we had this background about accounting and managing a business online. And yeah, the result was quite obvious too. We were ourselves independent worker working on many projects, especially on accounting, online accounting. We kind of took everything we knew better and put it in the same project, and Abby was born.
I like your backstory because when I work with entrepreneurs, that's the thing I like. You have the philosophy that you have in life. It's kind of shown in the company you build. When you said about the philosophy, how you perceive work and your life as a worker, or when you build your own career, it shows in how you build Abby for other independent workers. And I really like that. It's a really a symbiosis.
Yeah, and one important point, think that entrepreneurs are, I mean,
No worries.
independent workers are mandatory for an economy, to independent worker and any entrepreneurs are building the future of any country, are building all the value that comes out of the country. Everything is based on that. If you don't have entrepreneurs, you don't have an economy, you don't produce anything. The rest is just, functional support for those entrepreneurs. So I think this is absolutely fantastic. This is probably one of the best job in the world.
The one you create for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to earn your life. If you don't work, you don't eat.
It's the kind of the hunter, the back
Yeah.
to the ancestors tribes and everything. Then yeah, I agree. And not only tech entrepreneurs, every kind of entrepreneur, every kind of industry. Yeah, I agree on this.
Yeah, and this is especially right in hardware, not especially in tech, but hardware. When you build something, something physical. I'm a tech entrepreneur, so I see this, from a foreign eye. But this is absolutely incredible. Building something physical, you sell it, you produce something that has, physical value.
That's why we have both made our choices so far to build our own thing. I like to dive deeper on Abby's history. 2020, you built Abby, the first version. So that's the
2021. Yeah,
2021.
2021. Yeah.
Okay. Can
Abby
you give us
started in April 2021.
so give us a few numbers from that date? 2021, you get started, you build the MVP. How does it go from there until today?
By the time we had kind of absolutely no money. Actually, we had minus something on the account, but we wanted to do something. So it starts with this. We built in like a month the first version of Abby. I mean, my associates built it in about a month. By the time we had invoicing, like you could make estimates and invoices, download it and send it to your customers, and you could synchronize your bank account. We already were compatible with something about 300 banks working with a provider, of course. So you could synchronize your bank account, starting to make a bit of accounting, building up your first books of accounting, and create invoices and send it to your customers. We had 0 users, 0 money. Kind of in the same time, we found our first investors. I didn't say it in my background, but I used to work for a few months in the Silicon Valley for a fintech startup. And the first investor of Abi is my boss in this startup. So I almost called it first day, okay, hi, we're making a business. This guy kind of told me every basis you have to know when you start a new company, especially a tech startup. He was himself a tech entrepreneur, successful tech entrepreneurs, because he sold his company a few dozen millions dollars a few years ago. And so I called it, almost the first day, told him about what we wanted to do. I have, something quite funny happen because uh, he made an introduction with a former institutional director of government institution here in France, but a very, very, very important institution, the one which is managing all the cotization, everything you pay when you earn money, when you're an
I
independent
know that
worker.
name.
You're French, so you know URSAF.
Yeah, I know it.
So he was a director of a region for this institution, a former director. And so we set up a call. We jump in this call. We were 3. So the investor, who was not an investor by this time, me and this guy, and who was his stepbrother, I think, something like that. Yeah, or the husband of his stepsister, something like that. So quite close to him. And the guy just destroyed me. Literally, he told me that we were doing a crap project. Everything was negative, nothing to take. He was like, yeah, it won't work. You didn't understand what your customer needs. Etc. Nothing positive, absolutely nothing. And by the end of the call, I didn't say anything. I was kind of shocked. I didn't know what to say. I waited about 3 days, called back my investors and told him, this is the perfect example for why we have to launch this company. Because this guy didn't understand anything. Didn't understand what the entrepreneurs need. I showed him, few companies that are starting to work in the same space. I showed him videos, content about what are the need of the independent workers. I told him, of course, we were independent ourselves, so we know what are the real issues when you're a solopreneur. And so kind of say, yes, I understand, didn't say anything. And I would say a week after, call me and say, okay, I put 100K in your company, let's go. It
Amazing.
took about 3 weeks. We had nothing. The first version of the app wasn't ready. What he did is investing in us. He wasn't really interested in the real product, the real pain of the customers. I think he saw us, wondering what is the best, trying to find a good product. Of course, when you come from the United States, you don't play with the same amount of money, neither amount of ambition. And he saw 4 French guy with more ambition than the average. And actually, if you look at right now, he kind of make a good decision. So we are like 2 months after we started Abby. We now have a bit of money. We have the first version, and we kind of created the first channel as a first, marketing operation. We tried to launch a giveaway, and the giveaway was the very new iPhone. And by the time our product was totally free, we started this contest. You just had to, I think, make a publication on social media, like one of our publication, and probably send it to a friend, and you could pretend to earn this giveaway. And it didn't work at all. Because when you don't have customers, you don't have notoriety, you don't have anything. I mean, this was stupid, offering a free service which was never free at all, and offering something quite expensive. I mean, an iPhone is about 1,000 euro, and it didn't work at all. We were kind of naive about what could work by this time. So the second operation was to create a TikTok channel, and actually this was the first real channel that worked for us. Our first users went from this channel pretty quickly, and the channel was quite simple. It was me, just me, in front of my phone, recording short videos about what is being an entrepreneur, good advices for, new entrepreneurs. I was one myself, but you kind of base your content on what you know. And everything really started to be impressive when I started a new concept, which was, I'm going to build a 1 million business in 30 days. See the next videos. And this worked so well. I've I've made like hundred thousand of views on most of the videos. That was really impressive. The amount of people looking at the videos and clicking on the links on my bio, etc. So we kind of started having a real trend about the product. I mean, with a few hundred, maybe a few thousand of registers on the app, we had the first user, etc. And then we closed our second fundraising maybe 6 months after. And at this time, we had enough money, to invest in advertising, Google, Meta, etc.
How much did you raise in your second round?
The first round was K, and the second round was K.
Okay, so
Something about that.
$170,000, sorry, and 200,000
Yeah,
euros the
exactly.
second round.
Exactly.
So that's 2022.
It was in 2022. The first round work was closed in June or early July, I would say, and the second one was closed in December, something like that. Actually, it was kind of the same round because we used the equivalent of SAFE here in France, which is BSA, yeah, whatever. The translation is not necessary, but this is the same thing that SAFE in America. And the second round allowed us to invest more in marketing, but we realized something by, the end of the first semester of 2023, is that we didn't find any business model. We didn't find any ability to earn money. Zero, literally zero. We, by the time, I would say in June 2023, sorry, no. I told you something very wrong. The first round was closed in June 2021. The second one was closed in December 2021. By the end of the first semester of 2022, we realized that the business model we had is totally crap. And then we changed it for what we call now ABI. I mean, pure subscription business model. And everything started to work for us right at this time.
So when you switched to really a SaaS model
Yeah, exactly.
in
Yeah,
2022, first semester.
the first business model was to provide the platform for totally free. Yeah, there were no subscriptions, and we tried to upsell our customers with services and products from partners, in affiliation mode. This didn't work at all. Not at all. And so we switched, and this worked very, very, very well for us.
Because that's something I see with many entrepreneurs when they get started. We think you want to help more people, and we want to start for free, and then you hope they will upgrade, become paying customers, and be upgrade to other offers. But in the end, people that come for a free product don't necessarily upgrade to paying one. Maybe they just want the free stuff.
Yeah,
So I would kind of always advise to start with paying customers to prove the market fit, need, and etc. before trying to do another kind of PLG model, all of
yeah.
things. But I'm curious about something because at this stage it was already a year and so in the trenches, like doing the work and building the product and growing. How did you stay focused on this? Like I like to say a wave, like a specific segment that which is independent worker, freelancers, solopreneurs. How did you decide to focus on this specific audience, whereas everyone else is not doing it? Why did you decide to be the only one focused on them?
I would say 2 points. The first one is because we knew them because we were ourselves this type of entrepreneurs. I mean, a few years ago. The second reason is because the real trend about being a solopreneur in France, but also in the whole Europe, started in 2020 with the COVID. Before the COVID, and especially in France, we are kind of the country of social rights. You don't want to be entrepreneur when you have this amount of protection, where if you're an employee in France, you're kind of a king. And and yeah, so the real trend of, company creation for solopreneurs started heavily in 2020, just right after the COVID. And so it's been almost 5 years, 5 years of, yeah, high growth. Yeah, intense growth.
Cool. As an analogy that I like to use is the wave. Like when you are in the saturated markets, red, blue oceans, etc. Like the red one where everyone has many solutions for accounting, finance, laws, everything. And you spot an audience that's not served enough and that's growing. There's a more and more important need. And as COVID set it up, the wave of new entrepreneurs, new solo independent workers. And I think it's really interesting to focus on such audience when it's a good trend to focus on.
And this is a very particular business because when you focus on very small entrepreneurs, you're kind of talking to consumers. So usual B2B companies doesn't want to work with very small entrepreneurs because you don't sell the same way, you don't work with them the same way, you don't provide your services the same way. And for a traditional B2B company, this is way too expensive to work with small entrepreneurs. And this is why we are so powerful right now. And this is why we raised money and everything, because we kind of hacked this particular thing in the business. We are able to be profitable with very, very small businesses. And this is a strength.
Yeah, that's quite rare to have such a business based on small companies where it's really not the best customers from an exterior point of view, but you decided to focus on them because you knew this audience and you decided to focus and help them. And so I understood the part where you experimented with the business model and you got into 2022 and finally found that the SaaS one was the best one for you. Still all in one platform, but for a specific audience as a SaaS, as a paying subscription model. I want to understand how did you get traction from this point on? Because you said everything started working for you. And yes, I'm understanding in terms of model. How did you get growing, scaling enough to become a startup? Maybe I should maybe pick it closer, like the acquisition, maybe like on
Yeah,
the marketing side and everything. I'm curious about how you get traction on this part.
many, many, many things. First part is that we kind of already had the traction. We didn't have the business model, but we had the traction because we found what was the good channel, to start growing, creating content, especially short content, snack content, paying bit of advertising. And the third part, and yeah, there are two other parts. The first one is the community. From day one, we started to build a community around us with power users, brand lovers, and those brand lovers were the first person who subscribed to Abby when we switched the business model. And the second one was to work with content creators. And there are a lot of things about building and creating content. This is very important, especially nowadays where everybody is learning their job online. I think this is the best period for anybody who wants to become somebody. You can become whatever you want. You can find anything online. So we had to take part of this. Yeah, I would say this is a huge part. Creating content is so important, especially when you are talking to entrepreneurs. You have to be a part of their education, working with the content creators that are already part of their education. And I would say that that was the first step.
Do you think this commitment to creating content, including marketing in your strategy, is something that made a difference? That was really a key in how you grew, like the
Yeah,
marketing part?
for one reason, one metric, the cost of acquisition. I mean, if you look at our competitors, our cost of acquisition is up to 10 times less than them. 10 times. I don't know. I mean, this is incredible. This is, yeah, this is one of the key. We found the mold that allow us to make mass acquisition at low cost.
Content.
So this work.
No, that's huge. And including that, in staying in this topic, how did you get this vision before seeing the cost of acquisition? How did you add this mindset of, okay, we have to invest in being the first in France to try LinkedIn content creators, to try to create a community, to try, how did you have this mindset of, okay, we are going to raise money and invest it into something that's not tangible, but it's going to bring a return afterwards? Is it your vision, like your gut feeling? How did
Okay.
you?
I would say in any company's story, there is luck. We met the good person at the good time. We took the good risks at the good time. We were ready to learn things. I mean, ready to make mistakes, ready to get learnings from others, entrepreneurs, investors, etc. We had a huge confidence in us. I mean, from us, but also from our partners and especially investors. Our first investors were crazy. Yeah, they were crazy. I wouldn't bet a penny on us. We had nothing. And they were like, yeah, we're going to put a few hundred K in your company and this is going to work. That was crazy. And yeah, because we were ready to make mistakes, learn, start again, meet people. So, for example, you told me about LinkedIn. So it was a time where we were kind of the biggest company on LinkedIn. I mean, on influence, LinkedIn influence in France. I would say top 5 company on LinkedIn. And why? Because I accepted an invitation in a very small party of an entrepreneur in Paris. I met somebody at this party, which is more a dinner with friends entrepreneurs. So I have the good conversation at the right time. Talked with my partners and with the team about the opportunity of paying content creators in LinkedIn and having, notoriety and making acquisition with influence on LinkedIn. And we were willing to take the risk, investing money on something which couldn't work, and it works. But many things didn't work. I mean, we tried Instagram influence with low investment. This didn't work. We had to learn a lot of things. We've made a lot of mistakes. And this, yeah, I would say this is why we succeed. I mean, we didn't succeed yet, but this is why right now we have kind of good growth. It's because we've made mistakes. We learned a lot of things. And maybe this is what our first investor saw in us. We were ready to learn and going back to our everyday, even if you're starting to lose.
Awesome. Grit, resilience, and test and
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah. Great resilience is a key point, I would say. Yeah.
So That's funny because you said I wouldn't put a penny on us, and I was going to ask you about your latest fundraising because you just rolled a
Yeah.
little more money. So we are recording this at the end of August. So you're going to announce soon that you've just raised. Is it your third round?
Yeah, we could say, we could say this is the third round. The first one was in two parts in 2021. The second one was 1.2 million in 2023. And the third one, this one is 3 million in 2025, with two mission, hyper growth, of course, and being one of the most important player on invoicing in France, especially for independent workers. We want to provide independent workers with invoicing for totally free. This wouldn't cost anything for them. They will be able to use Abby as they used to do, and nothing will change. This is all on us. So yeah. The third one was just closed, a few weeks ago. Just one thing about what I said about I wouldn't put the penny on us. It's more for the joke because we have a luck. Yeah. I think we have a luck is that we have a huge confidence in us. We know that if we keep working as we work, hardworking, resilience, learnings, we will do whatever we want. We have high ambitions. We want to push this business very, very, very high. I mean, further with high revenue. And I know we can. I'm sure we can. So we wouldn't be there without this confidence.
Mm, why now? Why a new fundraising now? Why a third round? You were doing profitable, you said you were doing good job. You're missing growth already from the outside. So why do you need to raise fund now?
Yeah,
What's the
we were break even a few months ago. Why a fundraising? In a tech startup, I would say that there are two things that are cost worthy. The first one is marketing because I mean, marketing and sales because you have to reach your objectives, your goal. And the second one is research and development. Yeah, basically just research and development. Yeah. So when you're building the product, you're investing massively in the future of your company. The ROI is not instantly. You have to wait a few months, a few years because before being profitable. I mean, based on what you spend on the product. And this is exactly the same for marketing because we're selling subscriptions and not, an instant price. When you're selling subscription, you don't earn your life on the first payment. You earn money on many, many months, many, many years. And so you need investment because if we want to be one of the main player on e-invoicing in France, we have to invest on the product and on the marketing. So we could do it without investment. I mean, there are ways where you don't have to invest heavily in the product, in tech, and being compatible with e-invoicing in France. But yeah, we wanted to do more. We wanted to be part of the trip, part of the journey of e-invoicing.
Interesting. So if I summarize more everything, you had this vision at the beginning to help independent worker. So that was your goal, and from your experience, you got started, figured out the business model, got a few investments, and when you find out how to grow through content and marketing, you exponentially grew, got paying customers with the SaaS model, and just raised fund to upgrade the product and invest more in marketing. So retrospectively, looking at everything you've been doing so far, what was the key move in your opinion? If you have to quote one move on everything you just said.
Okay. Yeah. There is one move that changed absolutely everything. I think it was in probably June 2022. We had this business model where we were burning, we were burning 70,000 a month, euros a month. Our income was something about 10,000 a month. And the two metrics were too correlated, if we raise the burn, we raise the income, but this was too proportional. I had to invest maybe 10,000 euros more every month to get 5,000 euros in income. So this was not working. And I think we didn't really see it by the time. And one day, I'm browsing on LinkedIn. It's probably 8 p.m. We are four in the office. I mean, me and my three partners. And I see this post on LinkedIn from a tech entrepreneur that is raising, if I remember well, 2 million euros on almost a brand new company. This was the time the amount of money raised were way above right now. But I saw this post on LinkedIn, seeing this company raising 2 million euros, and I started thinking, why? Why they started a year ago, they are raising 2 million euros, and right now I'm counting my money because I don't know where we are going. We don't have good income. We didn't find the way to make the real growth. And at this time I was thinking we don't have the right model. There is something wrong about what we were doing. I stood up instantly. I stand up instantly. Looking at my partners, I told them there is something wrong. We have to do something. Look, we spend way too much money for earning a very low income. This is wrong. This is very wrong. And look at this company. Look at them. They already raised 2 million. The story is telling that they didn't raise no more money since then, and the business was not that good. But it was the moment we took the decision to switch the business model. So Corentin, one of my partner, took a pen, went on the whiteboard and say, okay, we're doing this. Started to write three columns. The first one was Abi Basic, which is the freemium model of Abi. The second one was Abi Start, with few premium features for low price. And the third one was Abi Pro, the best premium subscription for Abi. He wrote every features in each columns, and instantly we agree on what was good, you know. So it took us maybe 2 weeks to say, okay, this is the new business model. We organized kind of a keynote 2 weeks after, saying we have great things to announce. So first part of the keynote, you announce that you're developing new features, because we already had, you know, power users, people that are using the app even for nothing. And by the end of the keynote, we told them, yeah, Abi is not going to be free for life. We keep a freemium model, but there are features that are going to be moved in new plans. There were 100 person, I would say, in the meeting. Maybe two of them said, "This is disgusting. I thought you were free. You said that you will be free for life. I'm leaving," which is kind of crazy because you leave a company that needs money to run, and you're going to pay another subscription because this is not free where you are. Anyway, but the rest of the people were like, okay, we're here for you. We are gonna support you. We're willing to pay. So of course we are going to pay. And I would say in 2 days we had maybe 100 or 200 new subscriptions, and the new business model was launched. Yeah, it took us a month to realize, design the new business model, and launch it with our power users.
Okay, that was fast.
Yeah, that was kind of fast, but you know, we were very, very early stage, not a lot of employees. The app was not that huge, you know. We had to be fast, you know, very lean, very fast. Otherwise we would have died.
So if I summarize the one power move that you made, it was the epiphany of realizing
Yeah.
objectively we are doing something wrong
And
and we have
everything
to
started
change.
from this. Everything started from this because we found our first, venture capitalists that were willing to invest in us because we had the traction. 6 months after, we were in a fundraising, raising 1.2 millions. So yeah, this was the right move at the right time for the right reasons.
Figuring out the business model, so what offer actually makes you profitable, plus is good for people to pay for it, but the model for the premium, the paying, and in the consequence, figuring out acquisition with the content and the inbound, thanks to your power
Yeah,
users and how to
but
figure this
but
out.
we kind of were already on this. Yeah, I think we already found by this time the way to make acquisition, low cost acquisition. We just didn't find the right business model.
When you got this alignment between the acquisition and the model,
Yeah. And everything started from that. Yeah, from this. Yeah. And
okay,
yeah, in a month, we became so much more confident about what we were building.
amazing. So thanks for sharing everything. I've seen we already been talking for almost an hour. So maybe two last questions, really short ones, which is if you were to go back in time, what would you change? But I'm guessing the business model, or is it something else that you would change in your journey that you would do differently?
No. I wouldn't say I wouldn't change the strategy on the business model because we learned so much things with this. So I wouldn't change this part of the story, but as any young entrepreneurs, and we can say virgin entrepreneurs, we've made a lot of mistakes on HR, especially recruitment. That is tough. That is almost the toughest part of the business. Working with people, especially when you're a tech guy, running a tech company. One day you have to take care of people, of humans, and this is absolutely not the same job. So we've made so much mistakes. The vision of, a new employee, why you're opening a role in the company, the person you hire, the profile, analyzing what are the soft skills, hard skills, the personality of the person, understanding what is the culture, what you have to take care of. So yeah, I will say this is the main part where I will teach myself something else than, recruiting anybody around me. Yeah. Anyway.
And last one, where should we follow you? I'm guessing LinkedIn,
Yeah, pretty much LinkedIn. I mean, I'm not on social
TikTok,
media, not really on social media, only LinkedIn, just a bit.
not TikTok anymore.
Not really. I still have my account, but I don't even have the application of my phone anymore. It took me too much time, not creating content, but viewing content, constant scrolling. So I deleted the app. Yeah, I'm only on LinkedIn, but you can follow up. You can follow up Abby, of course. We have a YouTube channel. We have a LinkedIn. We have an Instagram, a very, very cool Instagram where you can discover tips about entrepreneurship, discover what is the team, who we are, how we are working, where we are working. Find it quite interesting. So yeah, you can find us on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Yeah, and we have a huge group on Facebook.
That's what I heard
40,000
from
members.
your CMO. You have got a huge group of independent workers,
Yeah,
freelancers,
yeah.
solopreneurs. So it's must have to follow you on Facebook, Instagram, and everything. So I'm going to put the link in the description and everything if you're on YouTube
Perfect.
or Substack. Thanks, Nicolas, for your time and for sharing everything. Best
My
of luck for
pleasure.
your journey and your hyper growth that's coming up. So best of luck.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thanks to you.
Thanks. Hey, so this is the end, end of the episode. Thanks for watching. I'd like to give a special thanks for people that made this episode possible. So thank you, Lou, the CMO of Abby, who made me the intro to Nicolas, and to Louis, who is the founder of a B2B outbound agency. I'm gonna put their LinkedIn in the description. Thank you guys for the intros. I think it's important to thank people for the intros when you have some. So thanks. If you enjoyed this episode, you can follow me on YouTube, Substack, and LinkedIn for the next one to be alerted to for the next one to come. Leave a like, share it to anyone who might be interested. You know the drill. So thanks a lot and have a good day. Bye bye.